Hi there. Other sensory issues. 4 of the more common senses have been covered so far in this. Touch, taste, sound and smell. Sight and light. Well, I don't think I'm too bad on light. Yes, it is bright, but I've got no way of measuring my experience with light against that of anyone else. So I can't say whether bright lights are more of an issue for me than other people or not. I do prefer to wear dark glasses or a peaked cap outside, even on mildly bright days. Quite often in the car I'll be taking my sunglasses up and down, up and down, up and down, depending on the cloud cover. I dislike driving at night, but not because I cannot see in the dark, but it's because of all the other extra lights, street lights, car lights, etc. They are too much. I would much rather just rely on my headlights to see where I'm going. All other lights around are blinding and distracting, and driving becomes too hard. Taste, well, that's not really an issue for me. I enjoy a variety of cuisines. I like cooking, and although this is challenging, that's due to ADHD issues, and there will be more on that in a separate ADHD episode. So that just leaves the other 3. Yes, 3. Did you know there's actually 8 senses, not 5? And because autistic people are basically sensory beings, we struggle more than neurotypical people with these other 3. The first of these other 3 are vestibular. Now, that's to do with balance. This one does get me. I have a dreadful sense of balance. I was dreadful at school at sports. I could not do sports. I could not do gym or anything like that because I'm just so uncoordinated. It's not funny. I'm not able to walk across logs, like balance on a white line. So I was pulled over by a police officer and told, you balance along a straight line. There's no way I could do that. I'd be dead set sober, but I just couldn't balance along that white line. I can't balance on a log across a creek. I wouldn't feel comfortable doing that. I know I'd fall in. I struggle walking across narrow bridges. I couldn't do any of the gym equipment at school. I get bouts of vertigo, and I hate, absolutely hate, going downhill. I cannot and do not drive on certain roads. If they've got steep hills, I'm not going down them. And I do my best to ask anybody else who is driving me to use an alternate route, because the sensation is one of being completely out of control and falling if I'm going downhill. This is not fun at all. Proprioception is the second unusual sense. I'm calling them unusual. I don't know why they're unusual. We all have them, but yeah. Proprioception is an awareness of where our body and our body parts are in relation to, well, my limbs are in relation to my body, and where my body is in relation to other objects around me. For me, I know where my body parts are in relationship to one another, but I am a very poor judge of where my body is in relation to my surroundings. I tend to always be bruised, particularly on the legs, because I constantly walk into things. Tables, chairs, walls, doors. Busted nose? Yeah. Own fault. Twice. Bumping into objects. I really need to wear a hard hat when I'm out in the garden because I am guaranteed to walk into garden branches. I see a weed. Oh, I'm going to go and pull up, pick up the weed. Bang, into a tree. Oh, I'm just going to duck over there to pull that out. Bang, into a tree. I'm always clonking myself on the head. Actually, I probably need one of those padded like helmet things like boxers wear anyway, like even around the house, because if I see something on the floor, I bend down to pick it up. I'm not necessarily aware of the proximity of other objects around me. So if I'm in the kitchen, I'll see a piece of fluff on the floor from one of the pets. I'll bend down to pick it up and I'll scone myself on the breakfast bar. I just don't judge the distance. I go head first into breakfast bars, bookcases, cabinets, or, I try and avoid shelves that are above head level, because I go down and I bang up, knock myself on the back of the head all the time, standing up underneath shelves. There have been multiple occasions in life where, people at work have taken me aside gently to let me know that there is actually support for women like me. And, when I've looked at them like confused, like, what do they mean? It's like, well, women who are being beaten by their husbands, is your husband beating you? No. Well, why have you got a black eye? I walked into a wall. No, I literally walked into a wall. No, he hasn't hit me. I have done this to myself. I walk into things. Open the fridge door on my head. Ow. No one would believe it was just me. I am perpetually clumsy. I'm not a good judge of the weight of objects. I'll grasp things and I'll lift them up and they'll go flying. I'll just squish, liquid will go everywhere. I'll squirt the milk. I have to be really careful lifting things up. I go to pour something, pick up the kettle and whoosh, water comes out. So, I'm just not a very good judge. I'm good at spilling. I'm good at bumping. I was called a clumsy clot as a child because of this. But the sense that I find most frightening is interoception. And in some ways, I'm like oversensitive to what's going on inside me. In others, I seem to be either unaware or undersensitive. I do know when I need to go to the toilet. It's usually like this little background, I need to go to the loo soon. Now, hang on a minute. No, I need to go now. Okay, fine. Breathing is okay, says she, who constantly has to remind herself to breathe whilst talking, as long as I don't think about it too much. Otherwise, I can get out of whack and really puffy. Swallowing is a deliberate mechanical function for me. I don't automatically swallow. So sometimes I'll be there and your mouth will water because people's mouths water. And then I'll go to speak and realise that my mouth is actually full of saliva and I start dribbling. Swallowing is something I have to think about. Eating actually takes, a lot of focus. People wouldn't necessarily know that, but I'm being very careful about my chewing and, making sure I can swallow and then focusing on swallowing and getting the whole swallowing, breathing thing right. That's actually quite hard work. I can sometimes forget to drink because I'm not really aware that I'm thirsty. So I'll get up, I'll get showered, I'll get dressed, I'll go out, I'll be miles away and then realise that I'm overheating, I'm feeling odd and realise that I'm dehydrated and I've forgotten to bring anything to drink with me. That tends to be more if I have to go to the shops, because going to the shops is really stressful. I always remember to take plenty of water if I'm going bush. Shopping is scary. Bush, forest, out in the wild, not scary. Go figure. Temperature regulation ain't that great. So I try to layer so that I can strip down as much as possible, because I do get this wrong. And there's only so many items of clothing that you can take off in public before getting arrested. And whilst under-awareness of some stuff is okay, it's the over-awareness side of things, of what's going on inside the body, that has become a bit of a curse. I don't think it was always a major issue, but it has got worse over the last few years. You see, I feel pretty much everything that's going on inside me all the time. I feel and hear my heartbeat. I can feel my blood pumping around my body. And because I have anxiety, if this ramps up or becomes irregular, I start to panic. And I know in some part of my mind that older people have heart attacks. And this just makes things worse. and trying to bring myself down and stabilize is really, really difficult thing for me to do. I feel all sorts of random squirts and squishes through various parts of my body, and I don't know what they are. I feel the entire process of digestion. This is gross and can be deeply uncomfortable. Tracking Mr. Whippy around the body. Because I'm in tune with my internal functions, I'm usually able to tell fairly early on in the piece if something is going wrong. But it tends to be before I'm observationally symptomatic to doctors, as it were. So I've had to have the middle-aged hypochondriac label applied to me. And that really is quite difficult to deal with, because I know if there's something wrong. Sometimes it's panic, sometimes there is something that causes it. I ended up with a tumour. I'd been experiencing all sorts of odd feelings and sensations and pain, but nothing I could explain properly. I didn't have the right language to explain what I could feel that was going on inside me. I just knew that something was very wrong. As it turned out, I was right. And I had to become quite a nuisance to multiple doctors. So after loads of scans and tests, a rare form of neuroendocrine cancer was detected, and the tumour was removed. Then, to be safe, as I was still experiencing unidentified feelings and sensations after, I then had follow-up endoscopy and colonoscopy. So for those of you who haven't had the latter, you need a very thorough internal cleansing beforehand. I then had some jaw issues, wisdom teeth stuff, ended up with like 4 anaesthetics in as many months, multiple infections, 6 months of antibiotics and all sorts of stuff afterwards. Now, nobody thought to say to me, hey Nick, you know, you need to get your system rebalanced and have some probiotics and change your diet, all this. None of that happened. So, of course, everything became a lot more painful and uncomfortable for me. And this kept freaking me out more and more and more. No one was helping me because I'm this crazy middle-aged person who's going, things are wrong. What's happening? Why have I got squishy things and this shape things and these feelings and those feelings? And they're going, well, we've done the tests, we've done the operations, you've been treated, you should be okay now. Why am I having pains? Why am I having weird things? This became very stressful for me. It supercharged my internal awareness and has created a massive health anxiety. Because I don't know the precise mechanics of how everything works within the human body, I quickly started to be terrified by the slightest twinge, difference and irregularity. I became convinced something terrible was imminent and that I was about to die, and I started having like panic attacks. I was worried not so much that I was going to die, but no one was going to notice because I live alone. What's going to happen to my pets? Are they going to eat each other? How long before anyone notices I'm missing? This is something I'm having to work really hard on, because even though I know I'm okay at the moment, all the tests are clear, women my age go through all sorts of other physical changes that aren't exactly pleasant. Combining that with a hyper-awareness of body changes has become a major stressor, and it does cause me to overload and to have frequent collapses. So interoception is not a sense that I would wish on anyone. Thank you for your time. Be well.